It's time for my 2025 post-spring MAC power ranking. Starting at number 13, we've got Kent State. Fresh off of an 0-12 season, they fired their head coach in April for racking up too much credit card debt and are just in a wave of uncertainty this year. It's probably a good thing they fired their coach, though. Kenny Burns was 1-23 in 2 years. At number 12, I've got Akron. I actually liked a lot of the things Zips were doing. They won a couple of conference games late. They bring back their starting quarterback, Ben Finley. I like Joe Moorhead as a play caller, but then they got deemed academically ineligible to make a bowl game because of low academic scores. And I don't know what that's going to do to a locker room, so that knocks them down a little bit. At number 11, I've got UMass in their return to the MAC, and they're just relying on the transfer portal pretty heavily. I do like their coaching staff, but there's just going to be a lot of volatility and not too much certainty in their first season. At number 10, I've got Central Michigan. They actually went out and hired Matt Drinkall, who is Army's offensive line coach this offseason. I thought it was an underrated hire, and they did a great job acquiring talent this offseason. This could be a team that pops this year. At number 9, I've got Ball State, where they welcome in a new head coach as well, Mike Aremovich. And Aremovich is actually in a really unique spot where his defensive coordinator got poached by Ball State last year, but then they hired him. So he reunites with him. I like that continuity, and I think he could do big things for them this season. At number 8, I've got Bowling Green. They took a big swing by hiring Eddie George. George is relatively unproven as a head coach, a very small sample size, but he brings a staff with him, and they did a really decent job at acquiring talent. So the talent acquisition is there. We'll just have to see if they can get it done. At number 7, I've got Western Michigan. There's a lot of positivity with the Broncos, who improved their win total last year and spent a lot of the season near the top of the MAC standings. I'm trusting this rebuild, and I think they can take another positive step this year. At number 6, I've got Eastern Michigan. There's a ton of positivity to like about what the Eagles did this offseason. They brought in a new quarterback, Noah Kim. I think he'll have a great connection with Terry Lockett, an all-MAC receiver. There's talented players across the board. They're well coached. They should return to a bowl game. At number 5, I've got Ohio. Despite losing one of their best head coaches in school history, they actually kept a lot of this staff and a lot of this team together. You got veteran quarterback Parker Navarro returning. There's a lot of good pieces here, albeit a few more holes than there were last season. They should still be very competitive and could potentially compete for a MAC title. At number 4, I've got Northern Illinois. It's a program that underwent massive changes this offseason, changing both coordinators, a ton of their personnel, but head coach Thomas Hammock is still there, and you ultimately trust this proven offensive scheme and how excellent they've been on defense recently. At number 3, I've got Buffalo. Fresh off of a 9-win season in Pete Lembo's first season coaching Buffalo, they bring back a ton of big-time playmakers, including their running back Al-Jay Henderson, who's coming off of a 1,000-yard season. At number 2, I've got Miami of Ohio. The Redhawks absolutely reloaded after losing a bunch of talent, with their most notable addition being Daquan Finn, who returns to the MAC as a guy that was an all-MAC caliber player in the past. And finally, at number 1, I've got Toledo. They've got one of the most stable coaching staffs in the entire country. They bring back Tucker Gleason and a bunch of all-MAC players from last season. They're primed for a MAC title run this season.